So, what is going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Combiner Wars. Why am I blanking on the name? Protectobots. There we go. Protectobots. Right? It's Protectobots, right? I always forget these guys' names, and these guys are, I guess, the Defensor crew. They form Defensor, and there is 6 of them. And actually, this is one of the few Combiner War Combiners where the entire crew remained. Yes, so we have Streetwise, First Aid, Hotspot, Groove, who is a Legends, which we'll get to, Rook, who's the new guy, and Blades. And we have looked at every single one of these molds by technicality, and I do mean technicality. This is just pretty much a repaint of Alpha Bravo Indoor Vortex. He just has a different head. He's the original version, but Swindle is a remold of Rook. We've taken a look at Inferno and Onslaught. Onslaught's a heavy remold of that. Haven't taken a look at him. He's the most unique of the bunch. He's a remold of Off-Road, and he is the Prowl version of Dead End. It's the cop version. But yeah, but before we actually fully jump into the review, I just want to thank you guys for all of the support lately. And looking, we've got past 200 subscribers really quickly, like surprisingly quick. I wasn't expecting it. I got to 200 like not even that long ago, and we're already up to like 227. As of this time recording. Could go up, could go down. I always say that. But we got up there. We're up to like 225. Easy, and it's kind of awesome. I'm also getting a lot of views from the Dino Fury reviews. I think I mentioned that already. But I thank anyone who's watching. I even looked at the analytics and seen that, hey, there's actually a couple more recurring viewers than there was. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, so let's just get into the review. First up, we have Blades, who is the worst one. Just by pure novelty alone, he is actually just the worst one. This mold is a fine mold, but like, as far as it goes, he's supposed to be a helicopter. That's a medical helicopter, and they gave him missiles on his arms for whatever reason. As far as articulation, I'm going to do it on Blades and only Blades, and I will do Groove and Hotspot because they are different. But the deluxes all have the exact same articulation. They have ball joints in the head, forward, back, outward, elbow, swivel, waist, forward, back, knee joint, and that's it. Actually, Rook does have one little bit of difference, which is he has an ankle tilt, which I will show. Don't worry. Maybe, because I don't forget. I always forget about certain things throughout the review. But as far as he goes, he's the only one who survived the yellowing process, because they're yellow. Yeah, I've mentioned they're on my top shelf. That's above my review area, which is the desk. If you watched the new collection update review, you probably know what shelf I'm talking about. So I'm with the Boba Fett helmet on it. But that's where my combiners used to be, and there was no blind for like years, and then yeah, they turned yellow. A lot of my Prime Wars trilogy stuff turned yellow, but hey, that's fine. As far as Blades here goes, not much different from Alpha Bravo other than that noggin. There it is, pretty bland, expressionless. He looks angry, I guess. Not really expressionless, but he's angry looking. And he has this nice ice blue metallic, which is nice. As far as the back goes, same kibble as Vortex or Alpha Bravo. The propeller and the rear end. Has these down there. I do like the color scheme of him, though. It is very coordinated, I guess, with the red and silver. Accessory-wise, we have the gun and foot gun. There's foot gun. Who cares? And this gun's nice, too. As far as he goes, though, in robot mode, I like him. I think he looks good. I like the colors, everything about him. Let's get into that transformation. I'm not really gonna probably tell you how to transform it, I guess. You can kind of watch it. Mainly because this thing's been reviewed multiple times. I've reviewed this mold 3 times. Not to mention anyone else who's ever reviewed it. It's just one of those things. This figure came out a multitude of times. A multitude. In fact, it's in Victorion twice. So there is that. I forgot to rotate the waist. There we go. Ooh, something's not going right. There we go. And then you take the front, and you put it together. If it'll go together, there we go. And fold down the propeller. And there is his Coast Guard helicopter form, which it's alright. It's alright. Like I said, why is the missiles involved here? This is a rescue helicopter. One thing to note, the initial blades I reviewed, which was the Universe one, actually still has that almost exact tampograph right there, which is pretty cool. I like that. I like the white stripe running down the side of it. It's the same helicopter we've looked at, but red and white. So that's really all I got to say about him. There's nothing really unique to say about this guy. But yeah, that's been Blades. Let's get into the next one. And so as far as the next figure up here, we have Streetwise, who is probably the second worst, just by the fact that I just don't care about Streetwise that much. He has a loose left arm. Very loose. Even without his weapon. You look at that. Look how loose that looks. But yeah, so he is the cop car version. We have the same hand-foot gun that Prowl and Dead End come with. We then have his silver shotgun here, which looks nice, except one of my barrels didn't get painted for some reason. If it would focus. 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 It's this one here. By the way, that's not painted. But that's his accessories. As far as he goes, pretty cool. Primarily just white and red with a bit of black on the chest and on the legs, which is nice. I like the little bit of difference. He does have some blue, though. Just a little itty-bitty bit, though. It's on his shoulders and on his back. That's it. That's kind of cool. As far as the head sculpt goes, I actually do like his head, but it's a bit confusing to me. Is it, like, he has a mouth in there, but, like, why is it so indented? Why is it so far indented? But as far as the helmet and everything goes, I like that look. I think that looks pretty neat. And he is yellowed a bit, but you can't really tell because he's already an off-white coloration, which is kind of the thing. He's off-white to begin with. Not much more really to do here because he's just the Prowl version. He looks fine, looks nice. As far as his transformation goes, easy enough. Peg the legs together. Flip these out, fold out his arms, and straighten them out till they peg in. Flip in his hands, like so. Rotate his waist around, flip down his arms, and flip the legs over top, like that. And then do that. Flip down the back panel, flip down that, and then you can... This is the most optional step of all time, by the way. You don't actually have to do that. You could leave that if you'd like. I do it, though. And there is his police car mode, which is certainly a police car. Which you can kind of maybe... I don't think you really can see the yellowing. It's most noticeable on First Aid out of the bunch, but I can see it. There's a bit of difference on the side here. Actually, this panel here might be... Yeah, I think it's coming across. If you look here, this is definitely a different color from the rest of this. He's a little bit yellowed, which is unfortunate, but hey, it happens when you leave him in an open window. As far as rolling goes, very good. Doesn't have painted wheels, unfortunately. Doesn't have painted rear lights either, but he does have painted headlights, I guess. So there's that. I mean, I actually do like the Dead End mold. It's just it got reused so many times. I don't think it's that bad, but that's my opinion on the Dead End mold. But yeah, as far as this figure goes, pretty good. Pretty nice. So let's get into the next one. So, First Aid is fun. He's fun. So he is the off-road mold, but he's the superior version that they never reused, weirdly enough. I know someone's going to say, what do you mean? At least in America, I don't know if they reused it, because I know there's the Cyclonus actually had a combiner set over there. Like, he had limbs. Like, he had, like, Breakdown from Prime, which is really weird. And then he had, like, Starscream's Ghost and, like, a bunch of other dead characters. And then we got First Aid here, whose mold, I'm assuming, was used for Breakdown. If it wasn't, I'd be shocked. But, like, I'm assuming it was. As far as it goes, this is my favorite version of the off-road mode. Easy. We've already taken a look at it twice, but this is the different remolded version. As far as accessories, same axe, painted blade, very nice. Thing again, same accessory, nothing different. There's just an accessory pile brewing over there. As far as he goes, he does look nice. I like the little panels on the arms. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that they stick forward a bit. And he's just completely different looking. And the most noticeable part of him is on the back, where you might be able to see the yellowing. right about there. You can definitely see the color differential. It's very small, but it is there. Yeah, it's very yellow. So is the hood. But as far as he goes, there's his head sculpt. Very generic head, nothing too unique about it. I like the new shoulder pads. I like how kind of swoopy they are. They kind of like angle. I do like that. I think it looks pretty nice. As far as it goes, it's really it. Get into the transformation of them. Do what I did to the arms. And then come up here. Move them out of the way a little bit. Come down the front of the legs. Open them up. And then scrunch him down. Like so. And then fold those up. And then fold in the arms like so. And then take the front end of the car where, oh, yellowy yellow. You can see it now. That is very white compared to this yellowness. And here's the very mixed colored alt mode, which if I turn like that, yeah, you can see it now. You can 100% see that now. As far as it goes, pretty nice alt mode. It's kind of just weird it never got used. They did, like, Trailbreaker, but they did him as a, like, as the Ironhide version with Off-Road. They never reused this guy, which I just find strange, except for that breakdown. And I'm assuming they used him for that breakdown because the alt mode fits. That's the only thing I'm assuming here. There's no way they didn't, right? Right? I don't even remember. I just remember that figure exists. That's all I know. No wheel paint, once again. Rescue emergency. Very nice, very cool. Not very much to roll though. Pretty well. No paint on the back. It's really just pretty basic ambulance type thing, even though it doesn't really look like an ambulance, but hey, let's get into the next one. And our final deluxe of the group is Rook. Yes, Rook. And he's the wholly original character of the crew, but they, like I said, did not subtract the original member, because throughout the rest of Combiner Wars, except for the Combaticons, weirdly enough, they added an additional member. I don't know why I didn't say member. It's like my lips got stuck together. I couldn't say member, but they couldn't. They just kept, like, getting rid of them. Like, they got rid of Slingshot and then Wild Rider, but then they got to Defensor and said, you know what? Groove can just be a like, Legends guy. And we'll make a new arm, which was Rook. And Rook's pretty cool. In fact, he's the best deluxe of the whole set, and that's not even a joke. It's pretty easy, actually, to say he's the best one. Again, bit of yellowing on him. Left arm, specifically. The shoulder is kind of noticeable. As far as he goes, he doesn't actually have hands. He has ports on the front of his hands, which are actually sculpted to be guns. And even on his little card art that came with the Combiner Wars figures, were guns. So he comes with this little grabby claw. Very cool. And Missile Pod, which is just a combiner hand, obviously. But the cool thing you can do with Rook is, yeah, he can technically just wield the combiner hand. He can wield it. So that's pretty cool. Another thing I mentioned, he does have ankle tilt, unlike the rest of the group. There we go. Just get that out of the way. As far as his head sculpt goes, very interesting. Described as a Russian-American football player. Like I said, it's just kind of interesting, you know? He just kind of has that bar across his face, and I don't know why he has that bar across his face. No clue as to why. Autobot logo on the forehead, though. That's kind of unique for a G1-style figure. But yeah, that's really just Rook's robot mode. He also has a pretty clean back. Kind of sticks out a bit, but it's pretty clean nonetheless. Let's just get into the transformation of this guy. As far as his transformation goes, rotate his arms like so. Flip them up. Come to the back, do that. Take his head, rotate it around, flip it in like so. Come to the legs, scrunch them down. So you just kind of scrunch them down. And then do that. And then you take his arms and fold them in. And they do peg in. So you peg them in and then fold down that part. And that will form the alt form, which is this big APC thing that really makes no sense. The reason I say that is this is a generic car next to said APC, but the other thing that makes zero sense is how many windows there is on this thing. So up here, we have this one, which actually is just holes. There's actually no paint or anything. It's just a hole. Then I have these. So where's the driver? Is the driver here or here? Real question. There's not really much more I could say about that. I don't know I don't understand it at all. Why does it have an axe on the side and a jaws of life? It has the gas canisters. I guess that makes sense. But, like, as far as everything else goes, really odd. It's not crazy. As you can see, yellowed side, non-yellowed side. But yeah, he's just pretty decent. He is the best deluxe, though. I actually do really like this. One of my favorite Combiner Wars figures out of the bunch. So, before we get into the big one, let's get into Groove. As far as Groove goes, he is, he's small. He's the tiny one of the group. Very long legs, though. Very long. As far as he goes, there's his head sculpt. It's a bit scuffed up, but it's pretty nice. He actually does have head articulation, I believe. Does he? Yeah, he does. I was never 100% sure of that. He does. I just noticed his head was slightly crooked. I was like, there's no way his head's just like that. As far as he goes, he does look kind of cool and unique. He has the little bit of gold there, which is just the windshield part. As far as the back, he has one singular bit of kibble back there, and it's the wheel. Articulation-wise, head, forward, back, outward, elbows on a ball joint. No waist, forward, back, knee joint, swivel, and that's it. That's his articulation. Pretty basic, but hey, it's cool. I think this guy also had a wreck car repaint at one point, I think, and then they actually did it again, weirdly enough, which was... See, I don't know if I'm confusing it, and I don't think I am. They did a wreck car version of this guy, and then they took the... Is it Afterburner? Is that the Computron part? Is that the motorcycle? They took that mold, reused it for Groove, and then they used it for Power of the Prime's wreck car. It's the whole thing. Whole weird thing. But yeah, that is pretty much just Groove. Transformation for Groove. Pretty odd, interesting, you know. He does have one of my least favorite things ever, which is when you have to combine the wheel together because it has to be specifically done. And I hate that. Peg the legs together like so. Move the arms out. Flip up the little windshield over his head. Fold the arms like that. And then peg them into the side. And there's his bike mode, which makes 0 sense as well. Now, like I said, the scaling is perfect. I actually really like the scaling. It's perfect scaling. It makes sense for him to be a little guy, considering he's a bike. It really does. I like the scaling, but the scaling only works for 4 of the figures. Rook and Blades are way too small. As far as it goes, you get a little star there. The same on the other side. That side's a bit yellowed, I think. I just keep going on about yellowing. I'm sorry, but it's painful to have them yellow like that. As far as he goes, though, he's technically kind of weird. Like, this is the seat. The handles are, like, way too far up. The handles should be where the shoulders are, but they're not. So it just makes no sense. Like, it's weird. I don't understand. Maybe there's bikes like that, but, like, it looks weird. But yeah, that has been Groove. Let's get into the big bot. Hotspot! And as far as Hotspot goes, he's pretty cool. We've taken a look at this mold a few times, and I've already said this is probably my favorite Voyager mold from Combiner Wars. And I really like the Inferno version, and that sticks with this guy as well. I really like Hotspot. Hotspot's weird, though, comparatively. He seems like he should be evil. Like, the head sculpt, to me, looks evil. I think it's only because of the red eyes, if you want the honest truth. I think that's what's doing that, but, like, as far as it goes, same kibble, which is the ladder, which basically acts as a third leg, because once you move it, yeah, he's falling over. Basically what that is, I just like the look of him. He does have the same accessories, which is these guns. Same thing. There's no difference. I think Onslaughts are gray. That's the only one that's different. Inferno has the same black pair. As far as he goes, I mean, like I said, I like him. I think he's cool. There's nothing really much more to say, except he's powder blue and red. That's it. Not much more to say about the robot mode. And articulation-wise, I guess, though, we do have ball joint in the head, forward, back, outward. He does have a double elbow, which is intriguing. Swivel, no waist, forward, back, outward, knee joint, very far bending back knee joint, that is it. Oh, and swivel. Okay, I always forget about the swivel. Every figure pretty much has a swivel there now. It's fine. It's fine to forget about one of the articulation points. But as far as that goes, that's his robot mode. So let's get into the alt form. As far as the alt form goes, it's just as easy to get to as the previous ones. Fold up the arms, and they just peg into the shoulder. Open the chest, fold in the head, flip that up, rotate the shoulders up, take the ladder, fold it like that, and then fold the arms up. I guess I should bring them down for this. I find it weird they actually remolded this guy into the Ectotron. I find that funny, that this is the Ectotron mold somehow. How that happened, I don't know, but it did. I just find that really weird. I just thought I'd point that out. As far as it goes with this guy, though, come to the ladder, do that, fold it like so, fold it around, kind of fold it up for a second until you get the legs in place. Fold them around like so, unpeg them, and they do have a weird peg system. I mentioned it in the previous versions of them. But Onslaught's kind of the worst one because he's the first one. That's how it is. And there we go. Fold those forward, fold down the ladder. And there is Hotspot's random blue fire truck. I don't know why it's blue. I don't think anyone ever knows why it's blue. Even the knockoff companies, when knocking off the G1 figure, went, you know what? Let's just make it red. Like, all the time. Like, every time with this figure, he was made red, which is kind of strange, but it makes sense, right? Like, the blue fire truck, and it's like everything else is so normal, and then you got a blue fire truck in the mix. As far as it goes, fire rescue with a little fireball, which is cool. As far as it goes, you can move the ladder about, it does rotate, it can go up, it can go down, the bucket moves. Everything like that. It does all the fire trucks. We're doing a lot of fire truck reviews lately, aren't we? Inferno also happened. One thing to note about this mold, though, that's always funny, is that his head's just kind of peeking out right there. And I mean, as far as the fire truck mode goes, it's fine, but it's kind of lazy in the middle. Like, I wish there had been more in the middle. Like, they could have put something there, man. Like, they didn't even try in that middle section. But yeah, that's his fire truck form. So let's just get a complete shot of the alt modes, and then we'll get into the combination. And there are the alt modes, which I just put blades on top of him, because why not? He's flying. And as far as they all go, I mean, they look good together. Like I said, they're a bit out of scale, but, you know, that's fine, I guess. I mean, it's kind of cool. One thing I kind of want to note, though, just before we get into it, you can technically have Blades pick up Rook, as illogical as that is. He can do it. He can do it. He can indeed pick up Rook. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that is the complete set. So let's just get into the combination. So as far as it goes for combination-wise, we're going to start with our legs, which are... Alright, and so to start the combination out, so we're going to start with the legs. We're going to get First Aid and Streetwise up in here. We're going to come into the pile, and we're going to fish out their feet. There they are. Very nice. As far as they go for legs, pretty easy, pretty simple. Come up here, move that out of the way, and then kind of pull on the little shoulder bit so you can get access to the connector peg. There we go. And then put him on there like that. And then I like to just take his axe. We do that. As far as Streetwise goes, come to the front, pop the windshield, and then move these down. So there's multiple ways you can put the knee. I'm just going to put him in stock. You can do that as well. But I just kind of hate how messy looking that looks. There's different ways to go about the knee for this figure. There really is. But I'm just going to go with the default like that. And then peg the foot in. Put his peg, and of course, because they're going to be put away in the combined mode pretty much, we're just going to put the shotgun there. And there are his legs. Next up is Hot Spot. So we're going to take him and just kind of do the chest mode. As far as he goes, take his arms at the back and fold them out like usual. And then you're going to take these, flip them up, flip down the little caps that would cover the shoulder bits. Ooh, that's a first. It's actually not a first, because the first time I tried doing this review, the exact same thing happened. As far as the feet go, hold them like that, and then rotate them. Take the ladder bit, rotate it downward, and then put it through the legs, and then up and around. Always one of the cooler ones, just for the whole ladder, how they dealt with that. I always thought that that was cool. And then you can take, actually he goes on this side. I remember that because as a kid I noticed that the right leg randomly is protruding too far. Actually, no, it doesn't really matter. I already had the axe on there and I kind of like it backwards. It looks better. Screw it. Screw my old fascination with keeping them how I had them combined. There we go, and then give them a second leg, like so. And now we'll get the arms involved. So as far as Rook goes, Rook's really easy to get into his arm mode. Take his head, move it out of the way, flip up the front part as a big shoulder pad, and I always did like this arm. I think the arm just really works with this mold just because it forms like a big shoulder pad and then it forms the arm. I've always liked that about it. Take the peg, flip it out, flip down the feet, attach his thingamadoo there. His hand's already in the hand mode. I didn't flip open his little thing. Add the arm to him. Last but certainly not least for the deluxe, we got blades. As far as blades goes, he's gonna wrench that off. I don't know why that's always hard to get off. Vortex is the easiest one, but Alpha Bravo literally broke. He's not broke in, but it has a crack in it. Same thing with the arms. This guy's always an arm. I just feel like it makes logical sense for the helicopter to be an arm, if you want the truth, because it's flying. I mean, and logically, if we were to do this by pure logic, he can pick up Rook, which means Rook could technically be an arm. That's all I'm saying. Like, there's some very, very burnt logic here that makes no sense. But there we go. Hand, fold it out, fold the thumb down, and then bag that there. One thing that always kind of makes, like, it's kind of weird about these guys is the Superion hands are actually like skinny thumbs compared to the rest, so he has a different thumb. But that's obviously not all. We still have one member of the team left, which is Groove. And get a good look at that chest, because it's going to be covered up by this guy, because he forms a little tiny chest plate, and that's really all he does for the combination. That's all he does, nothing more, nothing less. Look at the difference of those. Look, one side of the seat's white, that's yellow. Last yellowing remark I shall make. But there we go. And then he kind of has to go on weird, so there's a peg on his butt. I don't know why this doesn't want to stay on. His foot keeps rotating, like it's got a mind of its own. But there's a peg on his butt there, and then you would peg that onto the peg that was sticking out on the torso. Just gotta find it. There we go. And then his arm. Would do that. And then take those, kind of peg them into the arms like so. Come up to the top and then reveal the head. And there is Defensor's combination. And as far as Defensor goes, he is probably one of the better looking combiners of the whole thing. Up there with Bruticus for me personally. I think he's just really good. Like, he's just a really solid combiner with no, like, big hindering issues at all. Personally, I just think he's really good. I do like Groove's inclusion. I understand if people don't, but I do like Groove on the chest. I like that it just is there. I like that there's the option. And yes, there is the people that will go out and get the deluxe Groove to do that, but I think he's a little harder to get. Obviously, most people probably have Rook. But yeah, that's just kind of the combined form here. Looks pretty clean from the back as well. Nothing's really sticking off. As far as articulation goes, same as every other combiner. He has a ball joint in the head. So his arms are kind of unsturdy though. Forward and back, outward, double elbow, swivel, wrist swivel, hands do the things. No waist, forward and back of the hip, but it's very weird. So just to show it. So the hip should technically be there, but it's obviously up there because that's where Hotspot's hip is. So it looks really funny. Move it, knee joint, swivel, foot rotates. And as far as he goes, he's just a defensor. And like I said, there's people saying, oh, we need to get these redone again, da-da-da-da-da. Like I said, I don't think we need them redone just yet. After the whole thing with the Menasor, where there was one figure every wave that was dedicated, so it was like there was a StuntCon every wave, and that was taking up a slot, and it kind of was annoying to me, but not really. I mean, I kind of just wish they'd do a big box set at this point, right? Like, I don't know why they haven't done that. They did that for Studio Series Devastator. They made a big box set, but they haven't done it for, like, Menasor, which is kind of annoying because I would have liked to have gotten that thing, but I kind of missed out on my chance because all of the figures were sold out except for Wild Rider and Breakdown, because Breakdown just came out. Now he's sold out, so, yeah. But as far as my thoughts on this whole crew goes, pretty good. We'll do the individual bots first. As far as it goes, bot-wise, Hotspot's like a 4 out of 5. Rook, easy 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. First Aid, he gets a 3.5. Streetwise gets a 3, and Blades gets a 3 as well. And Groove gets a 3.5. But yeah, I think that this is a really successful set. I really do. It's really cool. It's really nice. But that has been my review of Combiner Wars Defensor. This has been Eilt Elite signing out.